your wildest dreams.
So many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman King?
To be Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman King.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Shinry, here at Everything Anime Podcast, talking from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, I don't know what type of I'm talking about. Today's video is on Shaman King Volume 2. Now, if you haven't watched our previous videos, we talked about Shaman King and my relationship with it, so just watch Part 1 or Volume 1 review. And then if you also want to know what the difference is between the manga and the Netflix anime or the 4Kids version, watch Shaman King, the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood Effect, also clipped in that same playlist. But anyways, we are going through the whole Shaman King manga volume by volume. There's 35 volumes in total, so there'll be 35 Shaman King videos. And we're going to talk about the greatness of Shaman King, written by Hiroyuki Taki. Again, I might be saying the name wrong, but this is one of my earliest mangas I ever read, and I was really drawn in by these covers. This is back in the day when Shaman King, all of Shonen Jump used to have really creative covers. Each Shaman King cover, just like One Piece got really creative. Bleach did with the characters, like Dragon Ball did. I love these manga volumes. That's another thing that gets my attention. It's a really cool and creative manga cover. But anyways, that's enough for this intro. Basically, if you haven't caught up with Shaman King Volume 1, go watch that previous video, because this one is about Volume 2 and then beyond. So, post the battle with Lin, Yo was in the hospital unconscious. He got really wounded going 100% integration with Midamaru to take down Lin. Lin attacked Yo because he wanted his samurai spirit. Basan is Lin's current spirit, but Lin was like, oh, Basan, you ain't as strong as Midamaru. Midamaru ain't even at 100% and he's stronger than you. Like, I want him. And Yo obviously wouldn't give him up because Yo thinks Midamaru is his friend. And Lin thought that was hilarious because Lin's like, oh, spirits are nothing more than tools for shamans. They're nothing more than they're no different than a carpenter and his chainsaw. But the carpenter doesn't think the chainsaw is his best friend. It's his tool. That's how Lin thinks. But obviously Yo's not like that, because these spirits used to be humans at one point. They might have died, but they're still still got a soul. A chainsaw doesn't have a soul. It was not born human at one point or another. So anyways, Yo did defeat Lin, but that battle put him in the hospital. He's been in the hospital for 3 days. And my first question when I was reading this was, did anybody report them 2 kids in the middle of the street fighting with swords and a steel pipe? 2 kids fighting to death in the middle of the street, in the middle of the city, in the middle of daylight. And, ain't nobody called the police. I don't know. I was just like, the anime world be different, But I was just like, Shaman King ain't taking place in no ninja world. It's taking place in the human world. The humans not aware of ghosts. Not every human's aware of ghosts. It's like you just see 2 kids fighting to death in the middle of the street and be like, something going on here. Anyways, Morty and Midamaru are worried about him. Midamaru feels that it's his fault for not being strong enough. He's like, Yo, if I had only been a strong enough spirit for you, if I was only stronger, you wouldn't have got wounded, you wouldn't have got injured by Lin and Basan. This is all my fault. Midamaru's feeling guilty because he is Yo's spiritual partner. Morty, on the other hand, is like, Yo, you gotta wake up. He's worried about him because Yo is his best friend. But also, he has a lot of questions like, who is the Shaman King? What is the Shaman King? What is the Shaman King tournament? What is going on, Yo? You just told me the other day that people that can see spirits have to be nice. That's what your assumption was, Yo. So how can this guy try to kill you, and why do he want to kill you? Why do he want to take him Midamaru? Morty has a lot of questions. And again, if you're like us, the reader, we're also wondering what the Shaman King is. Anyways, we're about to get the answer when we get a flashback to Yo as a child training with his grandfather. This is another scene that inspired Shinry and Rai's relationship in the beginning of the Sword of Light. Shinry Makai, when he's first introduced, he I can say he's a cloud watcher. Yo was a stargazer. Yo slacks off on training. Shinry slacks off on training, but when they're both in combat, they both get stronger. They both enjoy a fight. And Rai's grandfather was training Shinry the same way that Yo's grandfather trained him. I kind of mimic Shinry off a lot of, like I said, a lot of Yo's personality, but Shinry, goes on and evolves into his own character. Anyways, Yo's grandfather is trying to teach him the basic art of summoning a forest spirit. He's like, this is the most simplest spell you could use. Basically, Naruto, whenever he was trying to lose, what was it? Doppel shadow clone jutsu, like just creating a single shadow clone.
You can do this. Believe it. Clone jutsu. You failed!
Yo basically can do the basic summoning spell. Either that or Yo is just too lazy, or he feels like he lacks a talent, but his grandfather tries to push him otherwise. His grandfather's like, no, I believe in you. And Yo's like, I tried it, but I can't do it. He just barely put any effort in it, just already gave up. We then learn that his grandfather is a seer who can, basically they see ghosts or they use ghosts to read fortunes and tell the future to the rich and wealthy. And his name is Yohami. So like all shamans have like a role that they can play in real life. Yo's grandfather is a seer. He's like communicates with ghosts, and it's kind of what you go to, like, the people like when you go see a psychic reader and they tell you your future, or they tell you like, oh, your grandfather's thinking of you, your mother's thinking of you. He does that for the rich and wealthy. That's how Yo's grandfather stays in, takes care of his house and his family. Whereas his grandmother is in a way a summoner. I think it's called an Iketo. And she can call forth spirits from anywhere, even those that I passed over. Not like a necromancer per se, because necromancers can like bring back somebody from the dead and then place them in like a body. More like she can just draw out their spirits from heaven, hell, purgatory, limbo, and she's like, hey, I can. A stronger version of a seer basically is what an Iketo is. And also, I think her name is Iketo. Either I thought she was Iketo or her name is Iketo. Let me see if I can correct myself really fast. It's not there. Oh my gosh. Where is her name? Oh, Kino. Kino is her name, and she's Iketo. Kino is her name, because Iketo is what they are. Kino. She's also currently training a pupil of her own, which will later come to find to know is Anna, who is going to be the future wife of Yo. Who she wants to be the first lady. She wants to be known as like the queen of the Shaman King, or the Shaman world. And obviously, she wants Yo to be the Shaman King. We'll learn more about that in a minute, but just go ahead and throwing that out there now. Yo's mother's name is Kikyo, who was also a priestess and would communicate and hear the voices of the gods. So Kikyo, his mother, she could basically talk to God, the Great Spirit, and well, they say gods, but they also refer to the Great Spirit as God himself. So maybe like God exists, and as well as other Greek gods and things like that, because people have different religions and things like that. And it kind of ironic because Kikyo was the name of Inuyasha, and Inuyasha, she was also a priestess. I don't know if that's like a well-known thing in Japan, like Kikyo being related to shamaness and priestess, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yo's father's name is Mikashi, and he's an ascetic. I'm not sure. I think it's Aztec. But anyways, he's currently training to one day summon those gods. So he currently can't do that. He can summon spirits, but I know he can't. But he one day wants to be like summon like powerful spirits like gods. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. His grandfather is currently training Yo to someday continue the greatness of their family, but Yo is like, I don't wanna. He's like, all right. He's like, look, Yo, you got a lot to live up to. Your dad is trying to summon gods. Your mom can speak to gods. Your grandma can summon spirits from anywhere. I read fortunes for the rich and powerful. So you got to be able to contribute to this family. Though you got to do something. Yo's like, yeah, just picking his nose, looking up to the side, like a little. I mean, Yo is 4 years old at this point. So kids don't be thinking about futures like that at that age. But it's just funny because that is Yo currently as well. His reasonings are that there are many jobs in the human world for shamans, and since other kids in his class can't see ghosts, he doesn't have a way to impress them. So Yo's like basically like, back in the real world, like there ain't many jobs for shamans, like outside of reading fortunes and shit, and telling them their futures and letting them talk to their family. But other than that, people can't see ghosts, so they just think I'm crazy, and I can't prove it to the other kids. So this just seems lame. Plus, I already put in here that Yo was a child, so it's kind of understandable. So his father says, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do, Yo? You don't want to continue your family legacy. What do you want to do? And Yo, again, is just like, I want to be able to relax and listen to my favorite music all day. And, that's the headphones on Yo's ear all the time. I don't think it's in this picture. Oh, no, not in this picture. But Yo is typically seen with headphones in his ear. So Yo's just like, I just want to listen to my music all day and do what the fuck I want. And obviously his grandfather ain't with that. But I thought it was pretty hilarious. That would be a kid's response. And again, that is current age Yo's response. Yo was like, I just want to listen to my music all day and live a carefree life and do what I want. I just can't wait to be king, like Simba in the beginning of Lion King. Still, his grandfather didn't exactly blame him. He says that the world is just changing and you're a product of your generation, which is kind of true because we have iPad kids these days and, they're glued to their phones. They know how to operate an iPhone better than I would have at fucking 10 years old. What I'm trying to tell you is these kids these days, they're addicted to their phones. They forgot how to get outside and play and use their imagination. Thankfully, my nephew still has an imagination. He goes outside and play. And our generation is from that generation that went outside and play. Matter of fact, this shirt is because he likes altitude. He likes going out there and jumping with his friends and whatnot and playing sports. So I really love him for that because there are a generation of kids that, no fault of their own, but lazy parenting, they were pushed to iPads and pushed to video games and computers and, they didn't really use their imagination like they should have. Sometimes kids need to be bored, honestly. Anyways, enough about that. But he says also that someday the world will forget about the spirit world because like your generation of shamans are a dying race. Like there's not many of us, we don't continue this line, and that's getting to Anna in a second. But if shamans don't continue their line, continue their family race line, we're going to die out and people just forget about the spirit world. People ain't going to care about it. Which kind of links to Lin's motivation about humans polluting the world, because remember, that's what Lin's whole thing was when he becomes Shaman King. He wants to get rid of all the humans because he's like, oh, these humans are polluting the world. They don't even realize they're destroying humanity, which sometimes we do. There's a thing that's about to come up. Oh, right here. Because in a way, he's right. Natural forests and lands are cut down in a race to build new infrastructure. And that's why people who always travel are awed by beauty. Like whenever somebody leaves the United States and they go to like, Scotland or Spain, anywhere, any other country where like it's a lot of grass, a lot of natural beauty, they're awed by it. Because, a lot of this is like, a town at the town. Now, I know personally when I went to the West Coast and I worked in like California and I worked in like Oregon and Virginia, I was a little bit surprised because there's a lot of forest for long periods of time. Sometimes with no signal, okay? You're just out there, you hoping you better stay on that main road, okay? North Dakota too, South Dakota. I was in North Dakota and South Dakota. I was amazed by like how much just straight land there was. Because like I'm so used to like city after city after city. I live in Louisiana and there's aside from the bayous and shit in New Orleans, there is city after city. Florida, same way, city after city after city. Beaches, tourism, all that. So he is right. Humans, they get rid of natural beauty. And I remember one point when I was growing up in high school, they got rid of like this like natural little forest, like a small little piece of forest, and I built a goddamn corner store right there. We did not need another corner store, but they're just like, oh, well, this piece of land is going to waste, and we get rid of too many trees, we lose oxygen, so yeah, we are destroying the planet little by little, even in real life. And no one knows the devastation we're going to cause this planet that we call home, which is why they need guidance and they seek the help of shamans because people don't always know what to do. So he's like, they'll come to us for guidance. People pray to God. They're like, God, what do I do next? Sometimes people feel lost. Now that's a natural thing to feel lost. Like feel like you don't know what to do next. It happens even for adults. But shamans also seek someone who is the wisest and can guide them, which is the Great Spirit, or who we know as the All-Father God. So even shamans are like, sometimes we can get the answers to people, because y'all just want to talk to your relatives, you want to talk to your loved ones, you want to talk to your pets, you just want to know that they're okay. But they're like, hey, even though we can do that for you, who's going to do that for us? Do we go to another shaman? And they're like, no, we go to the Great Spirit. We go to God. So I thought that was very cool. But very few people have ever seen God in person, including shamans, and those who have passed on his will to others. Those people are known as the Shaman King. And there's only I think only one Shaman King at a time. They don't really explain how many Shaman Kings there have been or how many there can be at once, but I'm assuming once per every generation, every 500 years, because the Shaman King tournament takes place every 500 years. At least that's how it was in the anime. I don't remember, they haven't said that in the manga yet. Maybe when we get to the actual tournament, we'll hear that. But I'm assuming every 500 years, there's someone, a Shaman King that, I guess they live for half a millennium and, they pass on information. But hearing this totally changed Yo, and he's inspired once again himself to try to become the Shaman King. Which makes his grandfather laugh, but he asks, Yo, why the sudden change? Why all of a sudden are you interested in becoming, the Shaman King? What motivates you? And again, his response is hilarious. Again, he's 4 years old. He's like, if I become the Shaman King, I can do whatever I want, and I can never have to work a day in my life, which made me laugh and chuckle. I was like, very kid-like response, very Yo response from present day as well. And I'm guessing in the past, his grandfather went to hit him because Yo wakes up from the hospital. He's like, oh, Grandpa, no. Very, very cute, very great humor. It makes Yo hilariously awaken, thinking his grandfather's going to hit him from his childhood memory. As Yo awakens, Morty and Benimaru are relieved to see him, despite Morty yelling about what is the Shaman King. Yo just woke up out of the coma, and Morty's just like, hey, what's up with the Shaman King? What is the Shaman King? What is it? Yo, Morty, chill. Yo just woke up out of a coma after 3 days, mind you. Give your friend a little bit of space to wake up, That's when Yo gets an unexpected visitor, or maybe he was expecting her either way, and this is a character I had referred to earlier. It's a character we've all grown to know and love very much, and her name is Anna. It's the grandmother's apprentice, Kino's apprentice, and she's also an Ikito and the fiance of Yo, who she says is her husband. She's only 13 years old, by the way, which I think Yo is more than 14, 15, but she's already referring Yo as her husband. Understandably, Morty is confused because Yo never mentioned he had a wife, or a fiance, and he's in high school. So he's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's giving poison ivy whenever she snapped on Mr. Freeze.
I get my diamonds. You and Meatloaf retrieve my wife.
You never said anything about a wife.
Come on.
But she's also a third thing. She is Yo's personal trainer. She's the one that trains Yo and she helps him get stronger. First, she was the grandfather, but now Anna's taking on that responsibility. 1, because she's going to be his wife. 2, because she's an Ikito and can summon spirits from anywhere, heaven or hell, or even, purgatory or limbo. And she also specifically found Yo using the ghost he trained with in Volume 1. I thought it was kind of cool. The painter ghost, the boxing ghost. She was like, oh, Yo, you thought you would escape me? Them ghosts that you teamed up with? Yeah, I found them. And they told me exactly where he was at. And as an Ikito, which I'm also surprised she didn't bring at this point, she didn't bring Minomaru's best friend, but I guess that would have been too early because, again, when they meet again, it's a very more important moment. But it would have probably been a gag right here for Minomaru and his best friend to run into each other again. But anyways, she is that bitch, okay? We're going to learn that very quickly, that Anna is not to be fucked with or trifled with. Anna also loves to smack a bitch, which, again, you'll learn very quickly. Again, I'm kind of jumping around in my notes because I already know what happens. But if she asks you to do something, you do it, and you don't talk back or you don't question it, which Morty finds out immediately. Morty goes up to her, he's like, "Who are you? What are you calling yourself Morty, Yo's wife for? Aren't you 15 years old? Aren't you in high school? What the fuck?" Anna just backhands him. She's like, "Who the fuck told you to talk to me?" It's not in a humorous way. She ain't abusive, but again, Anna's not one to be played with. Yo, however, we learn, never wanted to marry Anna, but their families arranged it because, again, the shaman line is dying out. Again, that's what Yo's grandfather was talking about. He's like, there's not many shamans left, and once we're gone, the world won't be able to see guidance from us anymore. We have to continue this clan. We have to continue our line. We have to continue this future, and when one of us has to become the Shaman King and, pass on that wisdom to others. However, Morty thinks she's perfect for Yo because she's already scared him out of his normal laziness. Yo, the moment he saw Anna, he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I have to train. Oh no. And because Anna's going to whoop you back into shape. And so Morty's all of a sudden going from afraid of Anna to be like, oh, she can whip Yo into shape. She can get Yo to study again. Okay, this girl might be a good thing for him. if it is going to be his wife. To which Yo mocks back to her that he has his own form of training, which is basically just being lazy and listening to music and stargazing. Yo's like, I got my own set of training. I don't need your help. And then as we come back to Anna, we get a gag of her tying up Amidamaru with her spiritual beads. Anna can also keep spirits in a hold using her necklace that she wears around her neck. I don't know if they show Anna. Oh, here she is. She's always wearing these beads around her neck, and what she uses to channel spirits and bring them forward and stuff like that. She has come to train Yo, but Yo is persistent that he can become stronger without her help. But she warns him that the 100% integration he did with Amidamaru was most likely a fluke. You're never going to be able to do that again. Like, the fact that you did that once, you guys got lucky. It's probably in the heat of the moment, the heat of battle. But if it were to happen again, you're going to end up in the same situation. You'll end up in the hospital again. You have to physically train your body as well as your spirit, which we know from, like, Yo getting beaten up when he got possessed by the boxing spirit in Volume 1. Yo takes this physical damage, even though he's using Amidamaru's ability. And Amidamaru's not going to take any harm. Amidamaru might be possessing him, but Amidamaru's a spirit. He can't die again. Yo can die, but Amidamaru can't. And Lin won't be the only problem that Yo will have to deal with as other shamans are coming, because the Shaman King tournament that takes place only once every 500 years is about to begin. Again, they don't mention that here. She just mentions that the Shaman King tournament is about to begin. And more shamans like Lin are going to come, and they're going to fight you, and they're going to be like, hey, we got to take you out, because we only one can become the Shaman King. There can only be one. Okay? It's given, I forgot the name of that movie already. That I just watched it with the, not Excalibur, but like, that where there can only be one. I just recently watched that. And the Shaman King tournament is taking place specifically here in Tokyo. And the winner will get to fuse with God. So she's like, this is a big moment. Like, yo, like, you gonna be my husband? I ain't accepting nothing less. You gonna be the Shaman King? I'm gonna be the first lady. Our parents put us in this arranged marriage, and to make sure that I'm the first lady, and to make sure that you're Shaman King, I'm gonna whoop you back in shape. We're gonna whoop this laziness out of you. You are not allowed to be lazy, yo. You're allowed to have no days off. Okay, every day training day. Every day is leg day. Okay, that's what Anna's on. Anna's standing on business 24/7. But Yo doesn't have to fear, because Anna intends to make him the Shaman King, because she deserves nothing less than to be the wife of the Shaman King, and she won't settle for a lesser title. Oh, I already talked about that. Again, see, I'd be ahead of my notes sometimes. But she really does care about Yo deep down. Despite the front that Anna puts on, she really does care about Yo, and you'll learn that throughout the series. And I think in this volume, but yeah, she really does care about Yo, but she puts on a front. Like, she has to, because Yo's kind of lazy, but she does love Yo deep down. The following day, Morty meets up with Yo, and he's shocked by all the scratches and scars he has, but Yo, with a serious face, says it's from honest training, which understandably concerns Morty. He's like, oh, is she abusing you? Is she beating? What is she doing to you, Yo? And Yo's like, oh, this is my training with Anna. Like, I'm already used to this. But an outside perspective will make you think, like, Anna beating Yo ass or something like that. But the truth is, if Yo wants to win the Shaman King tournament, he not only has to be strong enough she has to only have a strong enough ghost, but a strong enough body to draw out his partner's potential power. Like Lin is doing it the opposite way. Lin is forcing his spirit to bend to his will and then draw out that spirit's power. Whereas if Yo wants to do it properly, you got to train to become strong enough, like Amidamaru did. You got to train your physical body, which I had talked about earlier. And thus is the toll of his special training. Like, that training that Yo's been skipping out on, being lazy, not doing anything, that's her whipping him into shape. Morty is so awesome by this change in Yo and his determination that he starts to like Anna. This is where Morty again starts like Anna. He's like, oh wow, she really is changing you. She's going to make you the Shaman King. I don't know what the Shaman King is yet. I know they fuse with God, but like I don't know what that means. And Yo, for a brief moment, believes that he's escaped his fiance at school, because he's like, oh, at least I get to, when I'm at school, I don't know if it's not here, I could have a day off, I can just relax and sleep in class. And that is until she enrolls herself as a new student in class, in the same class as them. And then Yo's like, what the fuck, now I'm gonna have 24/7? Yeah, Yo, you gotta get used to that. She gonna stand by you on business 24/7 all the time. But it's just like, speaking of outside stuff and related to me, my brother Kwame, he's been living at my grandma's house for like 19 years, and he's always like, oh, they're always yelling and screaming. I was like, well, now you got a job, you can go to work. He got a job now, but I'm like, you can go to work now, you can get out the house, and you get to be free. So the 8 hours that you go to work, that's your peace time, Same with like anything else. Even me, like my life, sometimes I'm at work. Well, it's opposite for me. I like being home. But, like going to work can be like a way to get out, and just do something different. And meanwhile, guess who's back again? It's Wooden Zord Ryu. And once again, with this pompadour hairdo, it ain't changed too dramatically yet. Right now, it's only got a bang. It's got a single bang. But you're going to start noticing these other variations. But this is the first small variation. This is Hiroyuki teasing that Ryu's going to have some crazy hairstyles coming soon. He and his crew have found an abandoned Chinese restaurant, but it has enough vacant rooms for all of them, so they're all overjoyed and all over the place because, again, Ryu and his whole crew's motivation is to find their happy place. Yo wants to become Shaman King so that he can live a peaceful life and do whatever he wants. Listen to music all day. Lin wants to free the world from humans that are polluting and destroying the planet. And Ryu, his motivation when he becomes a shaman will be that he wants to find his happy place. He believes that if he's in with God, he'll find his happy place. Now, again, I've never seen the ending of Shaman King. So, again, if you haven't watched the Shaman King previous video, I've never seen the ending of the manga. And I've never seen the Netflix version that's supposed to be canon. I want to find out through the manga myself what happens. Plus, the Netflix version goes through shit way too fast. So I can already tell they're going to fly through and skip some stuff. If you want to watch Shaman King, watch the 4Kids version. It's available on Amazon. I'll probably link it in the description box in case you guys want to check it out and find where you can buy it. Anyways, but is it abandoned? This Chinese restaurant, as they come across a coffin with a seal over it, and we know how Ryu is with ghosts and spirits. Ryu don't believe in spirits, and it is his crew. Well, his crew did believe in spirits, but because Ryu put on that front when he destroyed Minamoto's gravestone, he was like, oh, nothing happened. Where's the ghost? Ghost attacked me. And he didn't know that, Yo was standing next to me tomorrow. Yo and tomorrow were about to whoop his ass. He was just like, oh, Yo just standing there with a wooden stick, He didn't see that Yo was possessed by a spirit. If he hadn't seen that, Ryu would have changed. And again, Ryu will one day soon start to see spirits and start his own shamanic journey. But before he can open up the coffin and find out what's inside it, we come across Lin again. And it turns out that this is his hideout. Lin bought the place from the previous owner, and he's been using it as his place to stay and train while he gets ready for the Shaman King tournament. Because again, the Shaman King tournament is taking place in Tokyo, where they live at. Ryu, of course, still can't see spirits, and he didn't know who Lin is, or about shamans, or how strong he is. So he begins antagonizing him. And before he even realizes it, Lin done chopped off his pompadour hair again for a second time. So by the third time we see Ryu, you will see that again, another variation of his pompadour. I think that was done in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure too, that pompadour hairstyle. I think so. I don't know. Anyways, again, this recurring gag will make sense later. But if you know, you already know how crazy Ryu's hair gets. But Lin doesn't kill them. He allows them to run away and leave, which is something new. Because we know Lin was ready to kill them bikers just because, well, no, one of them was about to try to run them over with the car. So that was different. I guess they didn't really, do anything to Lin, but he scared them off. He's like, all right, y'all got lost, so I'm gonna let you leave with your lies. I'm relaxed right now. I'm in a good mood. That's how I live and feeling. We also get to see that Lin and his Basan spirit have a much different relationship than Yo and Minamoto, which you already knew that because Lin talks to Basan as if he's a tool, a weapon for his use, whereas he doesn't see Basan as the Chinese warlord spirit that he once was. And he not only belittles Basan, but basically talks down to him like a guard dog. And he's like, hey, why didn't you chase those guys off? Why'd you let them chill in here? And he's like, well, Basan's like, hey, well, they can't see spirits. Nothing I can do to them. And again, because Ryu can't see spirits yet, because if he did, Ryu would have run tail because Basan looks more intimidating than Minamoto. Minamoto is stronger than Basan. But Basan covered in armor with them red eyes, yeah, I would have ran too. However, Lin is also still not alone because someone else is in this room too. We then get to meet the big sister, Tao Jun, and she has come to aid her little brother in becoming the Shaman King, and specifically obtaining a Minamoto. She's like, hey, I heard you lost to that kid, Yo. I can't believe a Tao lost, He probably just got lucky, but don't worry, your big sister's here. I'm gonna go get that spirit for you, okay? I'm gonna go get it for you. The big sister standing on business, okay? And what's her spirit ally? It's a corpse. She's a corpse herder. There's a word for it, a name for it. But basically her spirit ally is a past boxing spirit he's a past martial artist that died past martial artist / actor that died. His name is Lee Parison or something like that. And basically she puts these tags over the corpse's face, and it reanimates, and the spirit possesses that body. So kind of like a necromancer, but again, not exactly, because it's through the talisman that the soul's trapped inside the body, and then she can control and command it, give it different commands. but we will come to see that. Now, we later learned that this character was designed after Bruce Lee. I do learn specifically why, because there's another character in here that's modeled after Ip Man, and I only noticed the differences later, but I think it was confirmed in like the manga volume that this Lee Parison was based after Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee was an actor as well and a martial artist, and he was trained by Ip Man. The following day, Yo, Morty, and Anna and Midamaru are watching a kung fu fighting movie, and ironically, it's starring the character and actor who died, Lee Parison, in the role. And I love seeing Yo's reaction to the movies on the side panel. It's giving Brenda in Scary Movie when Brenda was commenting the whole movie. That part might got clipped out, I don't know, but I'm gonna try to put it in here. But that shit was funny. Brenda killed that scene in Scary Movie. Iconic. Anyways, I also love Midamaru's reaction as he died 600 years ago. So this is his first movie. And he not only loved it, but he loves it as a ghost. He can see these movies for free anytime he wants. Because, yeah, like 600 years ago, they didn't have these kind of movies and things like that. So Midamaru's like, wow, these are pictures. That felt like actual, like, I don't know. He probably never seen a TV before either, but like, well, yeah, because Midamaru's been sitting in his grave for 600 years. He never left, and then his best friend had been sitting on top of that Zord for 600 years. So neither one of them have seen. They probably seen the world growing around them, but they never left that graveyard. His best friend never left that museum. So pretty fucking cool. I would also do that if I was a ghost. I mentioned that here. If I was a ghost, and if I died and became a ghost, I would probably haunt a movie theater too. I'd watch whatever free new movie coming out. I ain't gonna miss nothing. Okay, I'm gonna stay in the know. Okay, as a ghost. We then learned from Morty that Lee was the master of Dao Dan Do, which is a style of boxing, Muay Thai, and karate all combined into one. I'm not sure if that's what Bruce Lee did exactly, but again, I know this character is inspired after Bruce Lee. And I know Bruce Lee was a famous martial artist and actor as well. One of his kicks was alleged to have the force of a missile, but before he could perfect his art, he died at the young age of 30. He died like 20 years ago, we learned. So currently his corpse will be 50, but he died at the age of 30. And no one can figure out the mysterious cause, and worse, one day his body just disappeared. Like, they don't know how Lee Parison died, because his body was never found. His body disappeared along with him. They just know he died, leaving even more questions. But we now know he's in possession of Tao Jun, because we saw her in the previous chapter. Despite Midamaru, Yo, and Morty praising Lee's fighting style, Anna gives despite Morty, Yo, and Midamaru praising Lee's fighting style, Anna kind of smack talks them down, because she's like, Morty, you only idealize him because you're weaker and stronger than him. People that are weak idolize the strong, and so you can never. And then she's like, Midamaru, you can never fight like him because you're a swordsman, and swordsmiths can't fight the same way. That you can't use a Zord to fight a martial artist. You'll never be able to fight him, because I think Midamaru talks about wanting to fight him. And then Yo, she's like, you're way different than him. You're way too lazy to be anything like a hard-working like Lee Parison, so you can forget that too. We then learn from Anna that this movie is old and that they all received tickets, but no one else was in the movie but themselves, which would be kind of weird. It's kind of giving Luigi's Mansion when Luigi won that mansion, him and Mario, and they're like, hey, we won a mansion in a contest we never entered. We got these movie tickets to a movie that no one else is here for, and the tickets just randomly showed up at our door. Yo assumed that it's because Morty's a big fan of Lee, but Anna is more suspicious. Anna's like, I don't know about this. This is giving sketchy. We should get the fuck out of here. We should get the fuck out of here. And of course, the person who supplied them with the tickets was none other than Tao Jun, because of course that's her spirit ally. She wanted them to see the power of her corpse ally before putting them in a battle, so they would know what they're up against. She's like, hey, now that you've seen the power of Lee Parison, and you know he's my spirit ally, my corpse spirit, you might as well back down now. You already know you can't take him on. Your samurai spirit might be strong, but there's no way he's gonna take on Lee Parison. Lee Parison is known to like have the force of a missile with one kick. You might as well just give up now. And at first, before fighting, she once again simply asked, Yo, hey, why don't you hand over Midamaru and give him to my brother Lin, you know? It was almost cute, a big sister looking out for her sibling, if we didn't know how disgusting Lin was and how he treats spirits. And plus, again, Yo and Midamaru were best friends. And even if they weren't best friends, Yo wouldn't hand him over to somebody like Lin, which he said previously. But what the scariest part is, even Anna is afraid of her. Anna is shaking at the sight of Tao Jun. So that tells you, Anna, who's been standing on business, who's been stone cold, resting bitch face the whole time. The fact that she's afraid means, okay, Tao Jun is dangerous. Lee Parison is dangerous. So, and again, the short time we've known Anna, we know she ain't been afraid of nothing. Corpse handlers use talismans to control the spirits of the dead and use their own dead bodies as hosts. And basically, she's saying, now that you know what you're up against, you might as well surrender before you seriously get hurt. That's okay. So yeah, I've already talked about that. But just reiterating, because again, sometimes I'll be ahead of my notes. Again, I know this story up until the Shaman King tournament. I know this story very well. And then Lee Parison makes his grand appearance. The mystery of his missing corpse is finally solved, but did Tao Jun kill him is the question. We still don't know how Lee Parison died. We just know that she has his body. In Jun's own opinion, as well as Lee's, at 10% integration at all times. Oh, wait. No, in Jun's own opinion as well, Lee is at 10% integration at all times. That's what she says. Unlike a normal shaman who allows a spirit to possess their own bodies, these corpses and talismans allow them to basically reanimate themselves as zombies to fight on their own behalf, of the wielder, willingly or not. So, like, Lee Parison is not even aware that he's dead. Not yet, because he's in his own body, but this talisman has possession of his soul. This talisman has him under control and like his spirit and soul. So like his body's gonna move and he's gonna react and do whatever she says. He's not currently aware of anything going on. So again, it's kind of like going back to what Lynn said, like, you know, these spirit allies being your tools. That's how Tao Jun's treating him. This was a man that was alive. He's been killed. He didn't even know he's dead, which you don't know that yet, but you'll learn that. He didn't even know that he's dead, and she's using him to fight on her behalf and do whatever she wants. This is also the second part that this is also the second time and one of the few parts where we see Yo like really pissed off, and I really like it because we know he considers Minamoto his best friend, as well as like, you know, human spirits, that they had souls and they should be humans, and the fact that like Lee thinks of his corpse as her puppet basically just pisses Yo off. So it's really cool to see these moments like where Yo is this cool laid back character. He gets really pissed off. You can tell like Yo's serious. Yo's very passionate about this. Also, Jun can swap out different talismans to give different commands, which I thought was a cool thing to learn. I thought like maybe it was just like one talisman like does the attack, follow me, things like that. But no, you draw out a talisman and you can give different orders, like 1 follow, 2 maybe attack, 3 maybe like, I don't know, go stand in the corner or something like that. Like you write on talismans, give different commands and things like that. And so the battle begins, and I really love the way this panel's drawn, so I'm going to show it off for a few seconds. I love how much detail manga artists put into these, like, you know, drawings and sketches. It's something I can't personally do. I can write a story, but I cannot draw worth of shit. But I really thought this was cool. But almost immediately, Lee dismantles Yo's blade, which, no, it was a steel pipe. Yo didn't have his blade yet, because I remember getting confused, thinking that he had Minamoto's blade, but Yo's been carrying around this pipe and using that as a weapon. Without a blade, though, or a blade-like weapon, they are wide open and take a strike directly from Lee, which again is just said to have the power of a missile. So, like, they were trying to block or trying to cut him with a blade, with the steel pipe, and Lee just broke through that shit and he hit Yo directly. And again, Yo's physical body is not that strong yet. After letting Yo get one simple experience of one of Lee's attacks, she asked him if he's going to hand over me tomorrow now. She's like, hey, look, I ain't trying to kill you, kid. I ain't trying to drag this out. I ain't a torturer, but you already can see that you can't defeat Lee, and neither can me tomorrow. Not with this help and not with that steel pipe. But we already know Yo's answer before we return the page. Yo is going to say no. In response, Jun gives Lee another order not to stop until he kills Yo. She's like, writes another talisman. She's like, finish him, basically, like Mortal Kombat style. And then he tosses Yo into the air, preparing his ultimate attack, while Morty and Anna watch on helplessly from the side. They're like, there's nothing they can do. Anna can summon a spirit from anywhere, heaven or hell, but like she doesn't know who to summon in this moment to save Yo. And also, I think she changes her mind, but she says something else later. But again, you're gonna learn that Anna loves Yo, but she said something else later as well along these lines. The blow lands again in another incredibly drawn panel. I'm gonna show it off again for a few seconds. Again, I can gush about this shit all day. Yo does survive the first strike, but then Lee goes in for a second, and it seems like Yo is just barely hanging into the fight. Like, Yo is taking hit after hit after hit, and I think he dodged briefly because of Minamoto. I think Minamoto says that, or maybe I'm thinking of the fight with Lin. But either way, like, Yo is hanging in there, but he's like losing very fast. And you got to remember, Lee commanded Yo. Oh, I know what happened. June commanded Lee not to stop until Yo was dead, but Yo, I think he passed out at this point, like, or he fell backwards, so that's how Lee stopped. Lee thought maybe like Yo was down for the count. Lee thought Yo was done. But it turns out the 2 hits knocked Yo unconscious, so Lee stopped his barrage attacks temporarily. But it is then Morty who steps in front of Yo with his hands out, and he's like yelling at Lee. He's yelling at Lee and he's yelling at June. He's like, Lee would never do this. The Lee I know, the Lee Parison, the actor, the martial artist, he would never attack an unarmed person or an unconscious person. This is wrong. Whatever you're doing to Lee, you have to stop it. Lee, you have to stop it. She have to fight whatever she's doing to you. It is then Anna who informs Morty that Lee isn't conscious or aware of his own decisions when he's under the spell of a talisman. He's forced to obey whatever command he's given. So this is where we find out, like, even though Lee is in possession of his body, he didn't, like, willingly become a corpse. He didn't even know that he's dead. Like, he doesn't have any idea what's going on. He's just controlled. He's basically a puppet, like she said. Like Tao Jun said. But we then learn that who did kill Lee and somewhat of how he died. Lee was killed by Tao Jun's parents and Tao Lin's parents to become a present for June's birthday gift, or to present it as a present to June for a birthday gift on, like, I think our 13th birthday or something like that. I was like, that is so fucked. If you're gonna kill a human being, turn him into a corpse that can be used to fight for you because you want to give it to your child. That's crazy. And Lee had no connection to Tao from him. Lee has no connection to him at all. So they randomly chose him because he was a famous actor and he was a strong martial artist. Disgusting. To Tao Jun, though, it's just a matter of fact. She's like, because her family were raised to use ghosts as tools since they were children, she's like, this is nothing for me. I don't care that he used to be a human. I don't care that he died for my family. Like, he's my tool. He's no different than a dog for me. And this awakening that pisses off Yo for the 3rd time. Again, I love these panels where Yo is pissed off. It is so fucking good. It's so fucking cool. But again, understandably, I'd be pissed too if somebody talked to, like, about a spirit or my ally, or even not my ally, a dog like that. Like, I hear people talk about dogs like, is there like just guard dogs? I'm like, no, that animal is a part of your family. You should not leave it outside when it's raining. Don't leave it outside when it's hot. Make sure it's got water. Make sure it's got food. You know, all that. I hate when people abuse animals, especially dogs. I also love when Yo is drawn angry and serious like this again, because it's similar to how I talked about Shinry's personality. Yeah, Shinry is the same way. When Shinry's in, you know, a laid back position, he's like cloud gazing, just relaxing, watching. But then when the danger happens, Shinry, his whole demeanor changes. If you read Shinry the Sword of Light, you know what I'm talking about. Check out in the description box below. Check out my series, okay? The Shinry series. Yo also says the reason he survived one of those attacks is because Lee might not be under her control as much as she thinks, because his soul is still in there and his soul refused to kill an unarmed person. So that's why he's like, no, Minomaru didn't save me this time. I think a piece of Lee was able to stop himself from killing me. And so you don't have as much control of him as you think you do. And so it kind of was given, like, confirming what Morty said. Like, Morty's like, Lee would never attack an unarmed person. So it don't matter if you're in control of his body or not. Like, a part of Lee is not going to kill somebody. And the proof can be seen in Lee's face as beneath the talisman, he's crying to June's shock, because June's like, he's dead. He's not even supposed to be aware. Why is he crying? What are you feeling emotions for? You're a corpse. You're dead. You're a ghost. You're a zombie, basically. What are you crying for? And I thought that was pretty interesting too. I like that he drew that. June then orders Lee to kill Yo a 2nd time, and because the talisman is on his face, he does charge forward again. But Yo can feel he somehow doesn't want that to happen. Like, Yo can feel like Lee is trying to fight, but he can't. So Yo promises to cut that talisman off his face and set him free, shocking even the corpse spirit. Even Lee's corpse spirit is like, whatever little part of Lee is aware, he's like, you're gonna help me, you're gonna save me. And again, you're gonna find out that Lee didn't know he's dead, but like, it's probably like an inner part of his mind that is like aware of what's going on. Tao Jun isn't afraid, though, as she believes Yo lacks the power to free Lee, but oh, is she wrong. She's like, oh, I ain't afraid of you. You're not going to be able to free Lee from my control. You don't have any kind of weapon, and you're way weaker than him. Up close combat is Lee's, like, forte, okay? When Yo initially tries to go through a talisman, Tao Jun reminds him that Lee is a master of martial arts and close quarters combat. And so as Yo reaches for his face, he basically put himself in close range and allowed himself to be hit. And once again, he's beating up on, like, Yo and Minomaru, like, with ease. Like, literally, like, probably seeing fists like, you know, Dio did when Jotaro's fucking stand was punched him in the face. Yo. I know my clips, I'm crazy. Morty is panicking watching the fight, and then he realizes that Anna can summon spirits from beyond the grave who even passed over, and he asks her if she can help Yo in some way. He's like, hey, can't you summon a spirit from beyond the grave, from heaven or hell, that can help Yo in this moment? But Anna's response is, this is good training for Yo, and if he can't beat a corpse spirit, then he has no chance of becoming the Shaman King, and she has no intention of marrying a loser. Now, again, Anna's putting up a front because she actually loves and cares about Yo. You'll learn this at the end of the chapter. But right now, she is kind of right. Like, if Yo can't beat this corpse spirit on his own, if he can't defeat this, he's not going to survive against the other shamans in the Shaman King tournament. He'll get himself killed. And she's like, there's no way he'll survive. So basically, in a way, she's trying to say, like, he might as well drop out of the Shaman King tournament right now. You'll never have a chance of becoming God. Just get yourself killed, and then she'll lose the man she loves. So she's trying to put it on a front, like, hey, just give up, stop. Just forget about the whole tournament. Obviously, Yo can't do that, though. But don't worry, as Yana is just putting... I talked about this. But then we get confirmation from Yo and Amidamaru that they weren't using a real Zord, but a steel pipe weapon. This is where it was confirmed. And he's like talking to Yo. He's like, man, if I had a blade-like weapon, I'd be able to cut. I'd be able to like have an advantage in this fight. I'd be able to cut him, and he wouldn't be able to stop me if I only had a real blade. And for a moment, I was thinking that Morty, this is where he gets Amidamaru's blade from the museum, but it's not right here. But Amidamaru will get that blade at some point, but it's not right here. And so Morty immediately takes off. He takes off running, and Anna is like thinking he's just saving himself. And Tao Jun's like, smart kid, I'd get out of the way of the battlefield too. Like, they don't realize that Morty's trying to go find a blade for him. And that's when we run into our old pal Ryu once again. Morty at this point is looking for any Zord he can find, and I thought he was going to get the one from the museum, but he instead comes to call for Ryu, and he's like, at first he's like, Ryu, can I use your blade? And Ryu's like, what the fuck are you talking about, kid? Hey, ain't you the kid from the graveyard that we beat up? What the fuck are you doing here? And Morty's like, please, Ryu, let me get your blade. And he's like, I gotta help my friend Yo. And his crew and Ryu would think that he's saying yogurt. And so they start beating him up over and over again. And Morty just keeps standing back up over and over again like Captain America. He's like, I can do this all day. Because he wants to save Yo really badly. He wants to save his best friend. So Morty's like, Ryu, I need your blade. I don't care how badly you beat me up. Just give it to me. I have to save Yo. And they're like, damn, kid, you really love yogurt that badly? But for the first time ever, we see a Morty who doesn't want to give up to save his best friend. Like, Morty does not come off as a fighter. Morty is not a fighter. But in this moment, Morty is willing to throw out his life to save Yo in any way he can. Morty ends up beating Ryu up and his thugs with a book, which I found hilarious because that would be Morty's choice of weapon is his book that he uses to study with. And he ends up stealing Ryu's Zord and running all the way back to Yo and Amidamaru and Lee Parison and Tao Jun and Anna. Who, meanwhile, Yo was taking a serious beating while, he was away. And Tao Jun, Lee has yet to finish him off because, again, we think Lee is trying to fight against Tao Jun's command. And so Tao Jun's like, hey, stop fucking around, Lee. Finish him off finally. It's time to get this over with. Oh, no, she once again, asked Yo to hand over Amidamaru. She's like, look, you've not had enough. You're about to die. You might as well hand over Amidamaru's spirit, or I'll just take it from your dead corpse. And again, Yo is like, no, I'm not giving you my best friend. It's not going to happen. And she's like, well, what's the whole point of friendship? When has friendship ever done anything for you? And that's when Morty arrives in the nick of time, surprising Anna, Jun, and even Yo. And he has the wooden door in his hand. Now, the funny thing about this panel is that Yo does not acknowledge the wooden door at first that Morty went to get. He's just inspired by Morty's actions and bravery. Oh, no, it's Anna that's inspired by Morty's actions and bravery. But Yo doesn't even notice a blade. That was pretty funny. But with this blade, Morty and Yo and Amidamaru are able to put up a fight one last time. And Amidamaru says he's ready to show off his ultimate technique. Now, I think we had seen a technique back when he had fought Lin, but this is another one of Amidamaru's techniques. And it really does pay off as Yo and Amidamaru immediately block one of Lee's powerful kicks. Lee goes in for attack again, and Amidamaru blocks it. He's like, oh, now that I have a blade in my hand, oh, this is nothing. Surprising Tao Jun because Amidamaru tries to attack out of range, so she's like, how can a swordsman fight a martial artist from long distance? Oh, yeah, so they step back. After they block his kick, they jump back and they leap into the air, and she's like, how is he going to fight from that long distance? Like, he's nowhere near Lee Parison. How is he going to attack my corpse spirit? And the answer is Amidamaru's Amida-style shockwave Budagiri technique. Now this goes on to be like Yo and Midamaru's signature attack, but it basically sends a wave of energy in a form slash that uses the air that the blade cuts to attack the opponent that is beyond Midamaru's arm's reach. So basically, well, you see in anime when people cut their blades at the air and it like sends a shockwave or energy wave at the enemy. I thought that was pretty cool. And thus the talisman on Lee's head is broken and he's freed of Tao Jun's control. And at first you're like, this is good, right? This is a good thing. Lee Parison's been freed. He's no longer under control of her talisman. But then you realize two things. One, Lee died 20 years ago, and he doesn't realize he's dead. He's confused, and he's also fucking powerful as fuck. So this is not good. This is the worst situation ever. And just like a poltergeist, he's already angry and confused. He's like, where's his blood? He punches like a mirror because he's like, how'd I get here? I don't know. He's like flexing or just angry. And he doesn't feel any pain. He's like, I'm not bleeding. I don't feel pain. He's like, why can't I remember how I got here in this moment? Like, what is going on? And that's when Tao Jun is like, it's because you're dead, stupid. My family killed you to make you my pet. Now put this talisman back on your head and kill Yo and the market I told you to. And that's when he remembers how he died. He was killed by Tao Jun's father with a gun so that they could use his body, so they could have his body for his collection and eventually give off to their daughter on one of her birthdays. And then as his life flashes before his eyes, we get this really awesome panel that I'm going to show off for a few seconds. It looks like he had like a wife and kids in one panel. Maybe it was like from a movie set, but I'm assuming he had a wife and kids. I don't know Bruce Lee's life. He had a dojo where he trained students. He had like some trophies, and then of course like his acting career. And then we get a glimpse of the Tao family, and Lee is enraged once more that the Taos killed him. So it really is like in this one panel, like Lee Parsons' whole life flashing before his eyes. I thought it was a really creative way to do that. Now, I'm familiar with the big guy, but I'm not familiar with the father figure that well, or the mother in the anime. I don't remember if they were shown at all, but I am familiar with the big guy. I know that that's Tao Jun and Tao Lin's uncle. Tao Jun tries to throw another talisman at him, but to like recontrol his body, but Lee catches his ease without looking at it. Like Lee is like, even though he's locked in his flashback, he grabs the talisman. He's like, I'm not gonna be controlled again. And thus it's in that moment when when the character zooms on a character's face and they make that crazy look, like, you know, shit's about to go crazy. It was given that moment, okay? It was given that moment that like Lee is about to fuck shit up. He immediately and rightfully so begins to throw hands at his own slave master, Tao Jun. Like, she's just trying to dodge and he's like trying to kill her. He's like, oh no, get your ass back here. I'm killing all the Taos. All the Taos are gonna die today. But just when he's about to deliver the killing blow, you can already tell she's going to be saved because, of course, she is. You know, Yo's going to step in and save her. Yo steps in and blocks the attack because, according to Yo, people who can see ghosts always have a little good in them. And again, Yo, I know it's too early, but my guy, not everybody's going to be good. And you're going to learn that very soon, Yo. But what's hilarious is Yo's response to Lee. He's like, hey, man, you're dead. Get over it. You know, you died. So what? What are you going to do now? That's what you got to think about. You can't think about, like, how you died. Think about your afterlife future. Yeah, I thought that was, like, a hilarious response. To which, of course, Lee just backhands Yo, like, for real, what the fuck are you talking about right now? I died. I was killed, motherfucker. I did not die naturally. These motherfuckers took my life. They took everything from me. Because things are looking good again, Anna prepares to save Yo, saying that he did a pretty good job, and now she's on some of the only person that can stop Lee. So again, it's the front that Anna's putting up, but she basically seeing like, okay, Yo can survive in the Shaman King tournament. I'm not gonna take him out of this tournament, but he's not trying to take on a poltergeist, not a ghost that's angry, not a ghost that this was rightfully wronged. Meanwhile, Yo looks to Tao Jun for help, but she says it's pointless. A corpse spirit whose talisman is ripped off becomes unhinged and an angry spirit and will stop at nothing unless they're completely destroyed. So she's like, Tao Jun's like, hey, just like that spirit with the white paint that died and he didn't know why he died, he became an angry spirit and you only able to calm him when you figured out everything was wrong with him. Well, this is different. Tao Lee is a corpse. He died. And the talisman I had on him was controlling him, but now if I can put a talisman on him, he's just going to attack recklessly. He's going to attack anything. He'll kill anybody. You've got to just utterly destroy him if you want to stop him at this point. And obviously we can't do that. She appears shaken up and scared for the first time. Like even Tao Jun broke her like, you know, stone cold bitch face, resting bitch face. Now she's scared. That's when we get one of Anna's famous slaps She slaps the shit out of Tao Jun. She's like, hey, you started this mess. Get your shit up. Step the pussy game up and stand on business, okay? You ain't allowed to feel scared right now. You caused this fuck up. Do something to help. And I was like, oh, no. She specifically says you were abusing your dog. You abused your dog and you didn't think one day he'd bite your hand. Like, I was like, that's a great analogy. But yeah, people that abuse animals, you think an animal ain't gonna attack you one day, that's exactly what animals attack, because they've been abused before. Not all animals, but the ones that you do abuse, they will bite back one day because they've been abused. Don't abuse animals, especially not dogs. But Tao Jun says no one can stop him, let's be his master, but he died a long time ago and of old age, which Morty puts Morty into gear because he starts asking a list of questions. He's like, hey, where, when, and how? Because Anna's an Iketo, and the more information she has, the more she can draw on and find that spirit, whether they're in heaven, hell, limbo, or wherever, and call them forward. And this is where I was getting the Ip Man vibes, and remembering that Ip Man was the one that trained Bruce Lee, because I just recently watched the Ip Man movies. Watched my Ip Man 4 movies review on my channel. It's about the highest viewing video I got on this channel, but it's definitely great. Give it a watch, or just go watch the Ip Man movies. And then Anna begins doing her chanting and calling forth the spirits, which was a really cool panel. And we get to see the power of Iketo in action. Just as the spirit begins to form behind Anna, which is a really dope panel, she tells Yo to get ready. She's like, yo, stay in that trance. I'm about to put a spirit into your body. Yo immediately expels Midamaru from his body, calling by exorcism, which I thought was a really unique way of calling it. Like whenever like a shaman forces a spirit out, they call it exorcise. I thought it was pretty cool. Like integrate, when you put a spirit in your body, exorcise, and you pushing a spirit out. I thought it was pretty cool. And then Anna forces Lee's master spirit into Yo's body with the technique called spirit channeling. And now the tables are turned. But can Yo and this new spirit beat Lee Parison? Well, we're about to get the answer. But first, we get a quick gag of the old man who's hard of hearing and not one that seems like he's going to be capable of defeating a 30-year-old spirit, 30-year-old undead corpse spirit. Like, the old man's like, you brought me back to life. What's going on here? I don't know what's going on. It's given one again to Gotenks' failed fusions.
No! I can't love that!
If you ever seen Dragon Ball Z and the old man fusion when they fuse together by accident, yeah, it's given that. At first, all he does is seem like a hope. At first, all hope seems lost as the group are shocked. But because apparently in Shaman, when you die, you stay the same age as when you died in the afterlife, which kind of sucks. I was like, that kind of sucks. You don't get to go back to being young or like in your 30s. You're just whatever age you died. If you died as a baby in the Shaman King verse, you're gonna stay a baby in the afterlife. That just kind of sucks. But then something else happened. It seems like Lee missed, or did Yo dodge? At first, it seems unclear. The other characters like, did Lee miss by accident? Like, there's no way the old man just dodged Lee's attack. But it's Midamaru who reveals that it's not that Lee missed. The spirit inside of Yo is foreseeing Lee's attacks and expertly dodging them. Because remember, this old man spirit was the one that trained Lee Parison, or aka Bruce Lee. And that's when he counterattacks and he says that Lee is too blinded by rage. That even at his ripe age in 96, he could beat him if he was alive. So we start seeing this old man start whooping ass. A really cool panel. And like you see him like kind of de-aging or getting younger a little bit as he fights as well. And then this old man stands in a really cool panel telling Lee that he's trying to remind Lee to kill his ego. He's like, the only way you're going to defeat me in a fight, the way I trained you, is you have to kill your ego. And that's the only way to win. And it's giving Ip Man, again, I mentioned that like 3 times here in my review. But yeah, it's giving Ip Man. You're going to learn something else that like solidifies it too. They both prepare to get their final attacks, and then we get this awesome panel of a cross kick in front of a moon, which is a cool shot. I really like that. I also love how detailed the manga artist draws this fight. It's almost like you can see it playing out in your head as if it were an anime. A lot of manga panels are known to do that. Like, the way they draw these fight scenes, you can see it in your head as if it was like actually playing out in front of you. And yeah, this is definitely Ip Man because the idea of the old man's fighting style is that of a woman. Like, cause Ip Man, his fighting style, they compared it to a woman. Like, they're like, oh, you don't throw your fist, you fight open palmed. But it's a defensive style that goes to the flow of your opponent's strikes about interrupting them and then turning it back on them. So like, you're guiding your opponent's punches and kicks and hits, and then when they're open, you send it right back to them. All that force they're using against them. So, and I think that's how Ip Man fought as well. Ip Man had a certain style, but it's not mentioned here, but Ip Man did have a certain fighting style, and it was compared to women. Lee argued that he has the right to be angry, which again he does. Like, he got killed and they took everything from him. I do believe he does have a right to be angry. But the old master argues that if they took everything from you, then why are you so angry? Like, if you got nothing left, then what are you angry about? Or do you still have something left? And I was waiting to see what he'd say, and he's like, it's your dream. And I have to say, I was not expecting that. Lee's dream was to perfect Do Dan Do, or Dao Dan Do. And because he was killed, he never got to perfect that. He died before he perfected it at the age of 30. Lee then just shouts at him to shut up, which is monster taunts him as a child throwing a tantrum while readying himself in a fighting stance. I thought that was pretty funny. Lee's like, hey, shut up. I don't care about my dream right now. I died. Fuck my dream. I can't achieve it now. And this is the move I have seen in various anime that takes down Lee once and for all. It's called a double barrel shotgun. I think I've seen the dude that Luffy fought, Lucci. Rob Lucci used it. And, you see it in other animes as well, that pose. So I thought it was pretty cool. Lee is down for the count, and Tao Jun tries to go after him, but Morty stops her because obviously if he sees a Tao right now, he's just gonna go back in that same rage. Like, Morty's like, hey girl, like, they just took him down. Like, wait a second, let them figure this out. With this corpse defeated, his soul then escapes his body and takes on its true form, which we've seen all the previous angry spirits do. And so we get to see Lee Parison when he was human, see his human spirit as when it was human. The student and master get to have a heartwarming reunion, and I really like this one-page panel. It's just like, again, I know that there's a picture out there of Bruce Lee and Ip Man when they were like in their last couple of days, or Ip Man's last couple of days, and it was pretty cool. Everything comes to a great conclusion as even Tao Jun sees the error of her ways and begins to part without Lee's corpse. But Anna's like, hey girl, hold up, we ain't done with you. Like, Tao Jun's like, hey, thank y'all for saving him. I guess I'm out of here. And Anna's like, hey, what the fuck you want? We ain't done with you. Hold up, girl, chill. Tao Jun replies that she admits defeat and that Yo is a strong boy. And Anna's like, I know, he's my man. And Tao Jun's like, your husband, your man. And she's like, ain't you 13? Well, you lucky. And Anna's like, I know. And again, this is where you see that Anna deeply does care about Yo deep down. Meanwhile, Lee and his master prepare to go to the underworld or heaven, or probably heaven. I'm not imagine I'm going to go to hell, but they're getting ready to pass over. But Lee says he still has some unfinished business. And with his anger gone, we can assume that it's only to continue his dream. Like, he's going to continue Dao Dan Do, because obviously his master was like, hey, forfeit that anger. It's not doing nothing to you. Kill your ego and chase your dream. But I was curious about how he would do that. Does he intend to become one of Yo's new spirit allies? And the answer is no. He wants to become an immortal court spirit who practices Dao Dan Do. But this time he won't be consumed by vengeance or anger or ill feelings towards the Tao. He's just going to continue to train himself and get stronger. But I have a few questions when we'll get to the end of this. He then, in fact, asked Tao Jun to become his master again, but this time about the talismans, just him and her as themselves. Because he doesn't blame Tao Jun for killing him. It's her parents that did it. He's been her corpse spirit this whole time. He's been protecting her. He's been by her side. And so he's like, hey, we've been through this enough together. And maybe he's got some memories of when he was possessed as a corpse spirit. Maybe. Because, again, he was somewhat aware when Yo was telling him, like, he'll cut off his talisman and free him. And Lee started crying. But, again, my second question, just like at the beginning of this manga, when I said 2 children were fighting in the street, basically to death, aren't people, I mean, I guess it'd be 50 years ago. Well, 20 years ago, technically, because he was famous 20 years ago. Wouldn't somebody recognize Lee Parsons' dead body walking around, or a zombie walking around, and be like, hey, aren't you the actor? And I guess if you put makeup on him, he can pretend that he's a son, like the son that was never known about, whatever. I don't know. They have a way they can play it off, but that was just my first thought. It was like, you gotta have some fans out there that's probably gonna recognize you. But again, since I thought it was empty, I guess people just forgot about Lee Parson. They were like, oh, Oh well, or I don't know. I don't know how Tao June rented out that theater and showed a movie. Because, I mean, I think Yo and Morty and Minibar had popcorn, so somebody was running the theater, and they knew that movie was out there, and they weren't advertising it, I guess. Anyways, that's it from our review of Shaman King Volume 2. Really great manga. I love the introduction of Tao June. I love the introduction of Lee Parison, the comparisons to Bruce Lee and Ip Man being his master. The introduction of Anna was great. We get to see more about Yo's personality. We get to see more of Yo angry, which is really cool. You kind of get some insight on Lan's mindset and his family, because again, you know, like his parents kind of raised him this way. That Tao June didn't know that Lee still had feelings even as a corpse spirit. Like, she didn't know that, and I think she would not have abused Lee Parson like that if she had known like he would still like have feelings and care and stuff like that. And then, you know, the tease of the Tao family that we're eventually going to see, like we get the tease of them. Ryu remaking appearances constantly shows you he's going to be a main character, because Ryu has shown up several times on Volume 1 and Volume 2 so far. And I think Volume 3 is where Ryu gets his shaman abilities. Don't quote me on that. But again, overall, very great volume chapter. Now, this video is already an hour long, so I'm not going to drag this out. But let me know what you guys thought of Shaman King Volume 2 in the comments below. Anyways, I'll see you guys next video. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys would be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So, if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.